नहीं फोन नहीं है तुम्हारे कहीं और बच गया होगा मेरे को नहीं है गलत नंबर
आनंद
সংযুক্তা দি,
হ্যাঁ বল।
can you hear me?
বল।
Let's it's 4:31. Let's start.
ওকে স্যার জয়েন করেছি।
এই আমি আছি, স্টার্ট করো। ইয়া ওকে।
সংযুক্তা দি, let's start.
A very good afternoon. We are pleased to welcome all our participants, guests, scholars, students, and colleagues to today's webinar on gender inequality and diversity in education. We also want to express our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speakers. Before we get started, let me throw some light on purpose of this webinar. Gender inequality in education is a persistent problem within the Indian society as well as educational system. The webinar will focus on various gender issues existing in our educational ground and to propose guidelines for the conceptual, educational, and practical implications of promoting gender equality in education, and of course, to explore meaning of inequality and to discuss and exchange some experience with our esteemed speakers. Before we get started now, I would like to request our very own Principal Sir, Dr. Joydeep Sarangi, to giving the welcome address. Sir, please.
Good afternoon from the family of New Alipur College to everyone to this webinar. At first, my hearty congratulations and I extend my thanks to all learned and very qualified speakers who will be enlightening us. Professor Kishang Degi from Rajiv Gandhi University, Arunachal Pradesh, Dr. TJMS Raju, Sikkim University, and Dr. Sunil Kumar Baske of Rabindra Bharati University. It's my privilege to welcome you, the family of New Alipur College. And it's a wonderful subject to talk about because women can make, women can break, as Bama said, Tamil Dalit feminist. Gender equality and diversity in education. It's an important platform to discuss about this issue because women pay more to the household items than men do. But if you look into the human trafficking, the women are the victim of human trafficking. And we have gender policing, we have gender pyramid in our structured society, and it is in every society now. Still it is persisting, but it should not be. And very importantly, if we go down to marginal societies even, we see like Dalit feminists, we see like eco-feminists, we see like Maori feminists, Aborigine feminists in Australia. So in different cultures, it has different names. But the things are changing, but not possibly always for good. Not possibly always for progress. Gender equality represents our humanity. It represents our ways of education, our background, our roots, and it's still rooted in our society and our educational system. So, important topic, that is gender inequality and diversity in education. It's important because in Indian society, in the global society, we understand the need of it because we all know women can make, women can break. That is very important in these days because they are that part is the origin of the universe and also our respected self. So I heartily welcome our honorable speakers.
Sir, your mic is muted, sir. Sir?
Yes, of Rabindra Bharati University. I welcome all the participants for the webinar, and I expect this interaction will be a fruitful one. Thank you, the Department of Education. Thank you, the speakers, and all respected participants of the webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you. Well, now I would like to introduce our first speaker, Professor Kishang Degi. Professor Degi, PhD in Women Education. She has 20 years of teaching experience and has 30 publications in national and international seminars. She participated in 40 national and international seminars or conferences. Professor Degi has also published 2 books as an author and an editor, completed 8 research works sponsored by UGC, ICSSR, Government of Arunachal Pradesh.
हेलो मैम, आवाज नहीं आ रही मैम?
Sanjukta can't hear you. Hello, Sanjukta.
Yes, sir.
You are muted. So unmute. Unmute. You have to unmute. Still muted.
संयुक्त में आप माइक्रोफोन म्यूट जी। ओके
Professor Degi? She's here, no?
Yes, I'm very much here. Dr. Sanjukta, I'm here.
Okay, ma'am, you can get started.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you so much for giving me a very elaborate introduction. And also,
मैम माइक्रोफोन म्यूट हो गया आपका।
sorry. Yes. So, I would like to thank the organizers, the principal of the college, Dr. Jaideep Sarangi and Dr. Sanjukta Ghosh, for giving me this opportunity to share my views on the topic, which is very important, gender equality, and also giving me this opportunity to interact with all the participants. So I'm going for a PowerPoint presentation. I'll give my presentation. I'll share my screen.
मैम माइक्रोफोन म्यूट। किशन
Madam,
Yeah, yeah. It is again. I don't know. There is some problem with the net, so it is. Yeah. So is it coming? Can you see? Yeah. Can you see my presentation?
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, it's very much visible, ma'am.
Oh, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's very much visible.
Okay. So I'll be talking on gender concerns in education. So before starting, let us see what is gender and what is sex. As we all know that gender is a role played by a man or a woman in a society. For example, masculine and feminine. A woman should be feminine, a man should be masculine. That is the role we have to play in the society. Then when we talk about sex, it is a categorization based on biological and physiological differences. So as Dr. Sanjukta, the organizer, has already mentioned that gender disparity in education is prevalent in India, and also if you see the data which has been given by UNICEF in Southeast Asia at primary level, 5.9 million girls are out of school compared to 5.5 million boys, and in India and especially in the rural areas, this is very much persistent, especially among the low socioeconomic background, those who are coming from low socioeconomic background. And if you see the world as a whole, 66% of the countries, only 66% of the countries have achieved gender parity in education. Now we'll talk a little bit about gender equality in education. What is gender equality in education? So when we say gender equality in education, it means education program must be gender sensitive. Learning environment must promote equal participation and empowerment for women. Girls must be granted the same level of encouragement, preparation, and participation as to get enrolled in the school, get participation in all co-curricular activities, and also they should be given equal opportunity to excel in the classroom. I hope it's audible. Hello? Hello?
Audible.
Okay. All right.
Audible. You are audible, ma'am.
Yeah. You can see my slide also, no? You can see my slide also?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So if there is any problem, please let me know. Okay. Now, why do we need equality, gender equality in education? Because the first point is we cannot think of developing a society without equality in education is taken seriously, because education is the means to bring social change, and through education women empowerment will be there, and education allows to access and enjoy human rights. And if you see, when the girls are educated,
My microphone
Ma'am.
mute.
it is time and again, I don't know, the problem is with the net, I think. Okay, now you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you see, when the girls are educated, they have better career opportunities, they gain self-confidence, they learn technical and practical skills, and support home and society. And if a girl or if a mother is educated in the family, the health of the family also improves. So that is why gender equality in education is very, very important. Now, if you see a brief background, there are so many policies keeping in view the importance of women education, the importance of the need of gender equality in education. There are so many policies and programs in Indian context, and as well as for the world as a whole. So if you see Millennium Development Goal, it focuses to eliminate gender disparities and improve access to girls' education, so that all the girls must get enrolled at the school level, particularly at primary and secondary level. Now, if you see our Indian context, starting from 1986, National Policy of Education, and also the Program of Action 1992, the education of women has been given utmost importance. So National Policy of Education, it ensures equal opportunities to all, equal access of educational opportunities to all. So I'll be giving a brief, the programs which has been initiated by the government of India in order to, in order to educate, in order to give education to the girls, to the women. So there was a program, the Mahila Samakhya was started in the year 1988 by Ministry of...
Ma'am, again your microphone is muted, ma'am. Please unmute it.
Can organizers please look into it, because there's one person who's doing it. You can maybe,
there is some, I don't know, there is some problem.
Asti Raman is the one who's doing it repeatedly with each and every speaker.
So
Please,
I request
organizers to look into it.
Thank you. I request the speaker, the participants to kindly mute your mic. I'll try to finish early because there are so many problems. So I was talking about the program Mahila Samakhya, which was initiated by Ministry of Human Resource Development under Department of Education. Basically, the aim was to empower the women and girls in rural areas, particularly those who belongs to economically and socially marginalized section of the society. So this program, as we see, it was started in partnership with state government and the NGOs. Then there was a program, District Primary Education Program, which was launched in 1994. The aim was for quality primary education to children up to age group of 6 to 14 years, to reduce the dropout rate at primary level and promote girls' education, and also to reduce gender disparity. Then the program, as we all know, the flagship program Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was launched in the year 2001 to achieve universalization of elementary education. So there are so many objectives. A few of the objectives I have mentioned here: free textbook up to class 8, to bring more girls to the school, the infrastructure facilities like separate toilet for girls and boys, because this is also an issue, this is a serious issue. Then recruitment of more women teachers in the school. Midday meal scheme was initiated to retain the children in school. So under Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, the National Program for Education of Girls at Elementary Level, NPEGEL, was launched in 2003 to promote the basic facilities to ensure maximum participations for girls' education and to provide supplementary support for enhancing education of underprivileged girls. It also focused on working girls, girls and dropout girls. So under Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, there was another program, Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya was initiated. This program, under this program, there were schools were set up to reduce the gender gap in enrollment at elementary level, and it was implemented in 27 states. It provides opportunities to those girls who could not complete their education to rejoin, and it was opened in EBBs, that is educationally backward blocks, where female literacy rate was below national average. Then, as we all know, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan was launched. So under this program also there were two main schemes initiated. Incentive of Girls for Secondary Education, which was launched in 2008. Under this scheme, the SC and ST girls who passed class 8 were in the academic year 2008 and 9 were provided 3,000 fixed deposit. So after passing class 10, after reaching 18 years, they were entitled to withdraw the amount. Then under RAMSA, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, there was a scheme, construction of girls' hostel were also there. This was launched in 2008 and 9. This was also focused on SC, ST, OBC and the girls belonging from BPL families. So then the program Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao was launched. The scheme was launched on 22nd January 2015 by Honorable Prime Minister. It aims to address the issues declining child sex ratio and discrimination against girl child. So it's a joint venture by the Ministry of Child Development, Women and Child Development, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and Ministry of Human Resource Development. It aims to ensure survival and protection of girl child and education of girl child. The program was launched because of the declining sex ratio of girls. Then the Right to Free and Compulsory Education 2009 Act, it ensures every child has right to free and compulsory education. The Act is an attempt to bring equality in education system that provides learning to boys as well as girls at school level. So these were some of the programs, some of the schemes launched by Government of India in order to ensure, to give importance to girls' education. Now, despite all these programs, if you see, I have given the literacy rate here. If you see the literacy rate of girls since from 1951 to 2011, 1951, you see this is the the female literacy rate of the rural areas. It is 4.87. In urban, it is 22.33. And when you see, 22.33, and combined, you see this is 8.86. Now, if you see 2011, the female literacy rate in the rural areas is 58.75, whereas it has improved to 79.92 at urban area, and combined it is 65.4. 0.46. Now you see the literacy rate between male and the female. The male literacy rate is 82.14 2011 and it is only 65.46. This is the gross enrollment ratio 2015-16. Now the enrollment ratio at primary level is 100.7 for all, and for ST it is 105.7 and SC it is 112.4. Now if you see the enrollment ratio at higher level, higher education, it is 1.5, and SC it is only 19%, and for ST it is only 12.99%. So this is a matter of great concern. At primary level it is 97.9 and it is only 25.5 at higher level. Sorry, it's at primary level it is 100.7 and at higher level, higher education level, it is 23.5 only. So where are the girls missing? So this is a very, very serious concern. As I have already discussed, that despite the initiative, despite so many programs, still we have much to go if we talk about gender equality in education. Now come to the gender concerns in education. Can you hear me? I think I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You are. Yes, ma'am. You are.
Yeah. Can you see my slides?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. So we'll come to the gender concerns in education. As we all know that there are so many problems which girls are facing. Because we have to remember that gender concern in education, the problems of girls' education is not same. It is different in urban area, it is different in rural area. So we'll come to those problems one by one. The first problem, as I see, is lack of awareness and value of girls' education. As I said, education of parents is crucial for promoting girls' education. But I think in not only in tribal society, not only in in almost all the societies, girls are trained for household responsibilities. They are trained to obey values of the family. And if you see, I will not say that girls' education is not valued. But when we talk about value of girls' education, it is not as values as boys' education. I think you'll agree with me. Because in everywhere, boys' education is always prioritized. And you know, the traditional view of individuals and community, that girls should be at home, they have to look after their family, those viewpoints, it hinders girls' education. Now, if you see this slide, not only in India, the slide, these are, some of the, you can see this slide, the girl, the wife is serving the husband tea. And the mother serving food to the family members, and rest of the family members are sitting, they are chatting, and they are eating food. So this is how, we train our girls. This is how we have been trained like that you have to serve your family as a female, as a woman. You have to, take care of your household responsibility. So girls, the household responsibility is given more important than girls' education. As in the beginning I said, the problem of girls' education, I'm repeating again, it may not be same in all the society. And then you see this slide, women, they don't leave the kitchen. We all know a woman's place in the home, cooking a man a delicious meal. So this is how we have been trained. This is how we have been brought up. Now, the second concern is the issue of accessibility. The issue of women's access to education are not same at all levels. Because at primary level, according to right to education, according to there are so many guidelines that there should be a primary school within a distance of 3 kilometers, within a distance of 8 kilometers. So there is a difference in terms of
मैम माइक्रोफोन म्यूट हो गया है.
Ma'am is muted again, ma'am.
Ma'am, please unmute.
Yeah, I am unmuting, but I don't know where is the problem. So now you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can hear me. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes,
There is some
Yes, ma'am.
problem. It is muting. Yeah, it is muting again and again. Okay, so I was talking about the accessibility issue. So when we talk about accessibility education, it is not same at all levels, because at primary level, even in the rural areas, up to some extent, we have accessibility. But when it comes to college level, it is difficult. See, I am from the state of Arunachal Pradesh. I will tell you, there are so many districts in the state which don't have colleges, which don't have college even today. So even if there is a college, connectivity is a problem, is an issue, because there is no proper road, there is no transportation facility, and there is a issue of learning material and resources. And as we all know, security and health is a big issue. We can see, we read in the newspaper, we see in the TVs also. There are so many issues of girls while going to school. So then, of course, poverty is also an issue. It's also a hindrance for girls' education. You can see we talk so much against child labor, but still there are some girls, child, they are working. They are really working in the field as a domestic help. So as 47.9% of the Indian household have more than 5 children and are severely deprived of water, sanitation, health, and education. This is HRD report 2019. So girls from poorest family will most likely never enroll in the school. And as I said in the beginning, there is a vast difference between the rural and the urban household. Between castes, there are differences between castes, between socio-religious groups. And occupation of the family is very important for girls' education, because if a mother or a father has to choose either a boy or a girl for education, definitely they'll choose boys' education, because in Indian society we have been trained like that. For example, अगर मैं अपना बात करूं, हमारे घर में भी अगर आज पूछे बेटा को पढ़ाना है कि बेटी को पढ़ाना है, तो the parents will always come forward. They'll say the boy has to be educated. Girls are deprived of education due to lack of wage opportunities of parents. The study conducted in 2019 found that the more educated a woman is, the better equipped she is to stave off deprivation in household. Mother's education is proven to be more important than family's wealth. This is the study report conducted in 2019. Now, the problem with what we do is that we in our society we invest more on girls' marriage. We save. हम लोग पैसा जमा करते हैं बेटी का शादी के लिए. But we invest more on girls' marriage than girls' education. So this is something which we have to ponder upon. Then another issue is the issue of domestic household works. The burden of household work, according to 2015 report on gender inequality in education, Indian women perform 10 times unpaid care work as men. Girls who do 2 hours of housework per day have 63% probability of finishing secondary schools. So this is as per 2018 report on gender inequality. Girls, the young girls, especially those who are from low socio-economic background, from rural areas, they are busy looking after their siblings. They have to take care of the family, cooking food, and so as I said, since from the childhood they have been trained like that. They have to cook, they have to look after their family. And I tell you, I sometimes, I don't know, I may be so biased also, but sometimes if you see as the scenario of the entire scenario, all the unpaid works are done by women. Cooking at home, it is women's work. But chef in the big hotels, you will see men working there. But women at home, who is the cook? It is the mother. So women are mostly involved in, not mostly, many women are involved, we are involved in unpaid works. So research indicated that individuals belonging to marginalized and economically weaker section of the society usually discourage their girl child for education, mainly because of their participation in household responsibility. They are busy taking care of their siblings, livestock. Okay. Can you hear me? I'm audible?
Yes,
Am I?
ma'am, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Then there is an issue of early marriage. If you see the data of UNICEF, 27% of girls in India are married before 18 years and 7% are married before 15 years. So there are so many factors behind this. Number one is the feeling of insecurity. Girls has to be married off. ना? Girls has to be married. 18 years हो गया, बेटी का शादी नहीं हुआ. It's a burden for the family. Not only I see, this insecurity is not only in the rural areas, not only in the families with low socio-economic background, but even, in the urban areas, the upper middle class, I would say, this insecurity of marriage is there. We are the girls, the women, they are trained that when you grow up, you have to get married. लड़की के लिए अच्छा लड़का ढूंढना है, अच्छा पति ढूंढना है. That is what. ना लड़की के लिए अच्छा पति ढूंढना है. Of course, that is also very important. I do agree and accept also, but that insecurity should not rule us. Then, because of poverty, as I said, we invest more in girls' marriage rather than education. So the parents, they start saving for girls' marriage from the beginning. Then lack of education. As I said, parents' education is very, very important for girls' education. To promote girls' education, parents' education is very important. Patriarchy and gender inequalities, this is also there. Then inadequate implementation of law. See, we have laws, we have so many laws, but those laws, I don't know how far it is implemented. Even if it is implemented, how far? Sorry?
Ma'am, PPT is not visible, ma'am.
God. Is it visible now? Is it visible?
Sharing option is there.
No.
Yeah,
Sharing option is there.
Yes.
It's not visible.
Okay.
It's not visible, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Resume presenting. It's coming now?
It's coming, yeah. It's coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Processing, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can see the slides, no?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
good,
I
ma'am.
don't know
Yes, ma'am.
what is the problem, but we have so many problems today. So I'll finish jaldi. So
Okay, ma'am.
as I was telling, lack of education, then patriarchy and gender inequality is very much persistent in all the areas. Patriarchy attitude is there. And as I was telling, the laws are there. Even if laws are implemented, I don't know how far it is implemented, because as I said in the beginning, there are so many programs which has been initiated by Government of India, but how effectively those are implemented, that is also a question. Then as I said, gender stereotyping. Girls, they have to do this. You are a girl, you have to do this. You are a boy, you have to do this. And if the girls are enrolled in the school, there is a chances of reducing early marriage. Marriage before the age of 15 or 18 is highly associated with the level of child's education. This is as per UNICEF. Educated women tend to have fewer children. As we all know that if a mother is educated, they tend to have fewer children. You can see this. She's a young lady.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So then, other than these social problems, we also have educational problems. Gender discrimination in choice of subjects. Now, there are so many subjects we feel that is not meant for girls. Like home science, we say, oh, home science, girls should take up this subject. Home science is fit for girls. So discriminatory treatment in participation in co-curricular activities. There are so many co-curricular activities where girls are not encouraged. For example, girls are doing very good in boxing. We have so many examples, but in many cases, they are discouraged to participate in this kind of sports. And teachers' behavior is also very important. I will not say that there are so many teachers who are very good. Even my teachers were very good. But there are some teachers, knowingly, unknowingly, they remark, no, लड़की है थोड़ा चुप रहा करो, थोड़ा पीछे बैठो. So this kind of behavior, unequal opportunities, maybe in co-curricular activities, as I said, choice of subject, participation in literary activities. This also hinders girls' education. So as I said, the problem of infrastructure facilities, this also leads to dropout among girls. Basic infrastructure facilities such as furniture, classroom, separate toilet, drinking water, fans, these are essential to enhance enrollment of students. But in rural areas, there are so many schools, they are without desks and bench, they are without drinking water facilities. So the goal of free and compulsory education is mismatched with the resource allocated for basic education. Then there is a problem of interest, lack of interest, even among the girls themselves. This also leads to dropout from school. Now, this dropout may be due to lack of guidance. This dropout may be lack of self-confidence, lack of resources, lack of time management, and family environment is very, very important. Many times there are complaints. Teachers, they say, "Ladki khud interest nahi hai." Girls, they themselves are not interested. They are not interested in studies. They are not doing good. Their marks, their academic achievement, their performance is very poor. So there may be many reasons for poor performance, for dropout in the school. Then another factor is lack of female teachers. This may not be very prominent, but in the rural areas, this is one of the factors for dropout of girls. Girls are more likely to attend school if they have female teachers. School atmosphere is also very important. The school environment is not same all over the country. As I said, the quality of the physical condition, the infrastructure facilities available, the teachers, pedagogical sensitive teachers, gender sensitive teachers may not be available in rural areas. And as we all know, violence against girls is a problem seen in rural areas as well as in the rural areas. There are so many cases of emotional abuse, sexual harassment, rape, trade. This, every now and then we see this kind of problem, and this also leads to dropping out of girls. So these were few of the problems, these concerns which I have discussed. Now, what are the gender equality? Let's come to the gender equality indicators. What are the indicators for gender equality in education? We can say that gender equality. Sorry. We can say that gender equality in education. Yeah, we can say that gender equality is there if every child has equality of access to quality education. So it may be enrollment, subject choice, assessment method, study time at home, and facilities. Every child should be given opportunity to reach his or her full potential. Every school should promote participation of children irrespective of their gender. So if we fulfill this criteria, we can say that gender equality is there in education. Okay. I'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ma'am?
I'll stop here.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so very
Hello,
much
yeah.
for this. Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Yes, yes, you're audible. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
You're audible.
There are,
I can hear you.
there are
Yeah.
some questions.
Yeah.
Question
Please.
from our YouTube
Yes.
live. The
Yeah.
question is
Sure.
from Santan Hajra. Gender
Sure.
sensitization and gender equality both are the same?
Sorry. Gender sensitization and
Gender equality
sensitization and gender equality.
Gender
See,
equality both are the same.
See, gender sensitization is to sensitize the people. Gender equality is different. Equality. Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So gender.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
When we say gender sensitization, it is to sensitize the people. We sensitize the people. Sensitization of the people. So gender equality is you can say it's a practice. It is the equality which is given to men and women. Yeah.
Another question is from Snigdha Chowdhury. Is gender equality always aims at removing gender disparity between men and women? The transgender community is always left behind, especially in education. Ma'am, your views, please.
No, this is a thank you for the question. This is, of course, a very important question because transgenders, they are lagging behind. But when we talk about gender equality, till now we have been talking, I think this is lagging from our part also. I do agree, I accept, because we have been talking about gender equality in education. And when we talk about gender equality in education, we focus only in male and female. We have to take care of the third gender also, that is very important.
Okay. And another question is from Vidya Prakash. Lots of laws and legal remedies are there in this present time for girls and women. Then is it possible to misuse of these laws by any girl for her own benefits?
See, this depends upon person to person. This depends upon person to person.
Okay.
It depends. I will not say it will not be misused. I will not be able to say it will be misused. It depends upon person to person. It should not be misused, but this is something which I don't know. I will not be able to answer.
Okay, ma'am. Last one is, why do the feminist topic comes up if we want to know about gender equality?
Okay. See, this is now when we talk about gender equality, see, feminist, it comes because gender disparity is there. The women are always in the I would say in the they are always in the loss, in the inferior side. I don't know, inferior side. So because of that, the feminists, whenever we talk about feminism or feminist topic, gender equality comes up.
Okay. How to differentiate between gender equality and feminism, ma'am?
This is also a very important question. Feminism is, feminism is, from my understanding, feminism is for the working for the, we think about the right of the women. So gender equality is providing equal opportunity to men or women. We have to remember when we talk about gender equality, we talk about men and women both, because we are talking about gender. But gender inequality is there, and it is always, as I said earlier also, girls disparities are there. Girls are always in the loser side. So because of that, we talk about the problems of girls' education. We talk more about women education.
Okay. Thank you so very much, ma'am, for this wonderful
Thank you.
lecture. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Dr. Sunil Kumar Baske from Ravindra Bharati University, Calcutta. I must say a few words about Dr. Baske. Dr. Baske has published more than 25 research articles in various national and international journals. He has presented papers more than 32 national and international conferences and seminars on his basic research areas. Dr. Baske has also published 2 books. Firstly, English Pedagogy of Language Teaching for B.Ed students, and secondly, Socio-economic and Educational Scenario of Tribal in the District of Burdwan. In an intensive research oriented based on Santhal community in the district of Burdwan, West Bengal, and is very much helpful for students, researchers, academicians, social reformers, and policymakers. He also edited 1 book named Contemporary Social Issues in Education. Dr. Baske had served in Indian Air Force for 20 years, 1985 to 2005. He fought bravely against Kargil War 1999, Indian parliamentary attack 2001, and many more during his 20 years of Air Warrior career. Dr. Baske also served as an assistant teacher in English at Sagar Bhanga High School, Durgapur, and Mojigram Vishweshwari High School, Bardhaman, for nearly 10 years. Presently, Dr. Baske is an assistant professor, Department of Education, Ravindra Bharati University, Calcutta. I request Dr. Baske to start.
Hello.
Sir, please, you can get started, sir.
Thank you, Samyukta, for my introduction. I am Dr. Sunil Kumar Baske, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, Ravindra Bharati University. First of all, I'd like to thank Principal of New Alipur College, Professor Jagdish Sarangi, and especially my dear Kaushik Das and Samyukta Das for giving me the opportunity to deliver some things. Today is also Vijay Divas, Kargil Vijay Divas. I am actually new in this field, but as Samyukta said, that I have served 20 years in Indian Air Force as a air warrior. So that when Kargil war took place, I was in Srinagar. Under my supervision, around 150 soldiers were there. Then, so I dedicate this speech, if I am able to my friends, those who were martyred in the Kargil war. Today I present some of the topics which were covered by the Dr. Degi, Professor Degi. For 1 minute, please. Are you able to see my PPT?
No, sir. Sir, please share your screen, sir, first. So in bottom there is present now option, sir. Click here, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's starting, sir.
Now you can see?
Yes, sir. It's very much visible, sir.
That's okay.
Sir, please, sir, full screen, sir.
एक मिनट.
Sir, open your, sir, presentation, sir. Open your PPT, sir.
Full screen.
Sir, open your PPT, sir. Go to PPT.
Is it okay?
It is okay, sir, but sir, there's a slideshow from beginning.
Acha.
Top. Okay.
Actually, I am not familiar with this gadget.
Sir, sir, উপরে যে অপশন গুলো স্যার, ওই যে হোম, ইনসার্ট, ডিজাইন, অ্যানিমেশন, স্লাইড শো, স্যার ক্লিক অন স্লাইড শো.
Slides, okay.
Sir, first option from beginning.
First option.
Left, sir, left. Left, sir, left.
Left, sir.
From beginning. From beginning.
From beginning. Is it
No,
okay?
sir. Now, sir, is good, sir. Okay, sir. Let's start, sir.
Okay, actually, whatever this portion I'll cover, the already Professor Kesing Degi has covered. Still, I will try to describe according to my point of view. Actually, what do you mean by gender equality? First of all, the gender equality refers to the unequal treatment or perspective of individual based on their gender. That means the boys and girls, how they are treated, it is regarded like this. Gender equality acknowledges that the men and women are not equal and that gender affects the individual's living experience. These differences arise from the distinctions in biology, psychology, and cultural norms. Then what are the factors causing the gender equality in education? Already Professor Degi has elaborately mentioned it. Still, I will give some of the points. First point, what I explained it, condition of poverty. Under that, whatever point they are giving is the insufficient income of the livelihood. That if the income of the parents are low, then it is very difficult to label the children, boys and girls. It is due to the poverty, unable to meet the educational expenses. Even though education is provided free of cost, they are still need to meet their expenses like stationery items, books, bags, uniforms, transportation cost, and so on. Also, the girls are engaged in the household works and in the field with the parents. Sometimes boy child teaches his sibling girl child basic literacy skill of the reading, writing, and numeracy. Next point is prevalence of the traditional viewpoint. What are the our traditional viewpoint is there? For that, they are giving some point. I will give some other point. When the parents possess limited financial resources, they think that these resources sound to save for the marriage of their girls and should not be spent on education. As already mentioned by Professor Degi, that we are, especially Indian culture, we are actually spending more on marriage than our education on girls' child. Anyway, girls are engaged in the household work, not in the education. Girls are not allowed for the decision making in the family, and due to the prevalence of traditional viewpoints, girls are discriminated against and deprived of certain rights and opportunities. Girls are also not only deprived from the acquisition of education, but also in the attending self-independence. In other words, these are the barriers within the course of attainment of empowerment opportunities as well. The school infrastructure. Research has already indicated that the lack of appropriate infrastructural facilities, the students, especially girls, drop out from the school. Lack of the infrastructure facilities like furniture, equipment, material, technologies, girls' common rooms, especially girls' toilets and vending machines where pairs can be provided, other amenities, transportation facilities, playgrounds, classroom, library facilities, laboratories, and overall school environments. Another point they mentioned that the rude behavior of the headmaster, especially male teachers and staff also towards the cynic attitude towards the girls. So तू लड़की है ये क्या पढ़ने आई है, like this only. Unapproachable to the teachers and staff. If the any problems is there, the girls are unable to approach to the teachers. The provision of the appropriate infrastructure facilities would lead to the increase in the enrollment and augmentation of retention rate. That is, dropout rate is day by day increasing due to that. Next point is discriminatory treatment among girls. It is our viewpoint that the girls are the liabilities. That's why they are discriminating not only from the our society but also from the different levels. Research has indicated that among the deprived, marginalized, or socio-economic background section of the society, especially SC, ST, OBC society, the girls and women usually experience discriminatory treatment. The discriminatory treatment among girls are in terms of the acquisition of education, attainment and employment of opportunities, empowerment opportunities, deprivation in right to property, deprivation of decision making, deprivation from the expressing their viewpoint and perspectives. The girls are discouraged from participants in social, economic, cultural, and political activities. Emphasize them to remain within the household squares and taking care of the needs and requirements of their family members. The girls are debarred from the health and medical facilities also, and even proper diet and nutrition not given to them. Good quality food was given to the male members than female members. Hence, it is not only the barrier within the course of their propagation, but also the development of the community and nation as well. Next point is the occurrence of the Criminals and Violence Act. This also covered by the Professor Degi. In rural as well as urban communities, women and girls have experienced criminal violence such as verbal abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, discriminatory treatment, rape, acid attack, female foeticide and female infanticide, child trafficking, domestic violence, and neglect. For instance, in these schools, when the girls experience verbal abuse from fellow students, they will neglect it, they will not drop out from the school. But when they are experiencing the sexual harassment or other criminal act from the seniors or from the teachers, they definitely drop out the school. Hence, occurrence of the Criminal and Violence Act is regarded as a major obstacle in the course of the acquisition of the education. Then child marriage. This is a prevalence in India still now. Not only backward classes, but it is for the different society as well. When girls are married at the young age, as per the constitution, they below 18 years age, it is not feasible to do marriage. Then they are not only deprived of the acquisition of education, but also devouring from the child activities. They are devouring from their all-around development, physically, mentally, and socially. Getting devoured from the employment opportunities as well. They merely are required to remain within the homes, doing household responsibilities, and take care of the family members. The parents possess this viewpoint that if the girls are educated and older, then it would be difficult to find suitable grooms for them. लड़की पढ़ेगी तो इनके बड़ा हो जाएगी तो क्या करें, उसको लड़की शादी के लिए उसको वर नहीं मिलेगा. ये भी व्यू पॉइंट है हमारा. Education of the parents, very crucial point. Education of the parents is a crucial factor for promoting education among children, inculcating the traits of the morality and ethics among them and leading to their well-being. When the parents are well educated, then it is apparent that they will make provision of good quality education to their children. But on the other hand, when the parents are not much educated, not possess the basic literacy skill of reading, writing, and numeracy, they discriminate against girls, discriminate the girls against particularly regarding acquisition of education and encourage their boys towards getting the enrolled in the school, the major causes of the lack of financial resources, and it is also earn awareness. Occupations of the parents. The occupation of the parents is regarded as the important factors in promoting education among girls. The girls are deprived from the acquisition of education due to lack of wage earning opportunities of parents. The major objectives of all individuals is to get engaged in employment opportunities to sustain their living condition in an adequate manner. When the parents are engaged in well-paid occupation, then there is an increase in the admission and retention of the children, especially girls. On the other hand, when the parents are engaged in the low-paid jobs or are unemployed, then there is a decline in the admission and retention rate of the children, especially girls, are being dropped out from the school. Next point is management of the household responsibilities. It is very crucial in everywhere in the, not only India, everywhere in the world, I think. People belonging to the deprived, marginal, and economically equal weaker section of the society usually discourage their girls from the acquisition of education. Mainly, girls are engaged in preparation of meals, cleaning, washing, gardening, fetching water from the far away of the pond or river or wells, and also taking care of their livestock. When parents are engaged in the agriculture, the children, especially girls, are vested upon the household chores to look after their younger siblings. Lack of interest in the studies. What the Professor Degi has mentioned, it is same. The children, especially girls, have not been provided adequate resources like books, writings, materials, dresses, tutoring, mentoring. When they are engaged in the schooling, they do not develop interest in studying in the school. The factor influencing the educational attainment, already Professor Kesang Degi has mentioned so many factors. Still, I will give the sum of the point. The socio-economic factor. The socio-economic factors are pivotal features to the continuation of higher education, even in primary education also. In some cases, the poverty-stricken, deprived, and socio-economically background section of the society provide education to their sons and not girls. Hence, the girls are deprived from the acquisition of education due to financial constraints. Accessibility to learning material and resources. When the parents are financially sound, they make provision of all kind of facilities. But when the parents belong to the poverty-stricken, deprived, and marginal section of the society, due to lack of the awareness, they are unable to provide their kids, especially girls, learning materials and sources, even though they try their best to provide their boys to do so. The time devoted towards the formal learning activities. It is also found that during the higher education, students devote the acquisition time towards their studies, those who are coming from the rural area. But when they migrate to the cities for the higher education, then they require to take care of the
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, your PPT is not visible, sir. Sir, can you hear me? Your PPT is not visible, sir.
Yes, I do not know how it is, but it is.
Sir, your screen is presenting now. Go to your PPT, sir.
Is it okay?
Now go to your PPT, sir. Open your PPT, sir.
Hey. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Plus from sir. Second from current slide. From current slide. Yes, sir. Yes.
This one. accessible to learning material and the resources. When the parents have financial, I think this is I covered. When the parents are belongs to the poverty-stricken and deprived and marginal section of the society, they are unable to provide their kids, especially girls, learning material and sound, even though they are trying to they are trying to the best to provide their girls as well, boys as well. Actually, somebody is, I think it is doing flickering something. Are you able to listen me? Time devoted to the formal learning activities. It is vital for higher education students to devote adequate time towards higher studies. But when they migrate to their other cities from their village for the higher education, they are required to take care of the household squares, employment opportunities, and many more things. But due to financial weakness, the individual get engaged in the part-time job instead of giving attention to their studies. Next one, the cultural viewpoint regarding the education of the girls. It is already covered still. The cultural viewpoint regarding the education of the girls are embedded in the cultural norms and values. In some rural communities, when individuals do not possess adequate financial resources, they primarily form this viewpoint that providing education to the girls is a wastage of resources. Instead, they make use of the resources in providing education to their boys. In other factors that promotes negative attitude to regarding to the education of the girls are making the saving for the dowry. When the marginal and deprived family have to make saving for their marriage of their daughter, then they do not intend to spend financial resources to have the persuasion of the education. They possess the viewpoint that boys would acquire good employment opportunities and contribute effectively towards the promoting well-being of their families and communities. But the girls will be going to some other house after marriage. Next, programs promoting women's education. It is already mentioned, Professor Degi, that is, it is provided in the NP 1986. It is also giving some provision for the girl children. Then is the Mohila Sanak 1988. Then the District Primary Education Program 1994. The Sarva Shikha Vision or Sarva Shikha Mission 2001. The National Program for Education of Girls at the Elementary Level, it is 2013. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya 2004 for ST OBC girls. Also, Rashtriya Madhyamik Sarvashikha Abhijan. This is also for that a national scheme for incentive of the girls, especially ST OBC girls, and construction of the girls hostel. Especially SC, OBC girls, those who are marginal section. And also now 2015, our Honorable Prime Minister has announced that Beti Parao, Beti Bachao. All this still I am giving some of the point. This point of the already covered. Still some of the point I would like to question. The United Nations built upon the Millennium Development Goals. It's already mentioned, and the form 17 Sustainable Development goal within the framework of 15 works. Among 17, 2 goals are primarily related to the promoting education among the women, among the girls. These are, what are these two goals are? Firstly, the quality education goals aims to ensure free and equal quality education to both boys and girls in primary and secondary education, equal access to the affordable quality higher education, and to eliminate gender differences at all level of the education. Second one, the gender equality goals aims to provide equal access to social and professional system within the society, such as politics, decent work, health care, and education. It also endorses the politics and regulation that the necessary to promote gender equality, empowerment opportunities among women, and end to the discriminatory practice against women. Then Right to Education Act and Sarva Shikha Abhijan, the right of the children of the Free and Compulsory Education Act says that all children below the age of between the age of 6 to 14 years should have the right to free and compulsory education. Another program that was initiated was Sarva Shiksha Abhijan or Sarva Shiksha Mission 2001. The primary objectives of this program was to eliminate gender discrimination in education, achieve educational objectives throughout the country, access and retention, and bring about the improvement of the equality of the education. There are then another scheme, which I will cover still, a scheme known as the Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhijan was initiated in 2009. The major objective of this scheme was to make secondary education available to all the individuals within the age group of 15 to 16. Sarva Shiksha Abhijan, the RT Act was 6 to 14. Now it is in this Act 15 to 16 years. For provision is that by 2020, it aims to achieve the retention rate of the students to a major extent and to eliminate disability, socio-economic and gender impediments by providing support and assistance to the individuals belonging to the marginalized and socio-economic background section of the society and who experience the disabilities. In 2014, a program was initiated known as the Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya. The major objectives of this program was to establish upper primary schools with housing accommodation and for the girls belonging to the deprived section of the society. In this program, the school girls are encouraged towards the acquisition of education by making provision of various items free of cost. This includes the free of textbooks, free uniform, stationery items, bags, medical facilities, healthcare facilities, housing accommodation and hostel facilities, counseling, guidance and counseling, mentoring, tutoring, financial assistance and midday meals and so on. I will conclude my presentation. This the privilege whatever we have presented. This is main point where what I observed is that our viewpoint towards the girls, our viewpoint towards the society is whatever we looked upon it is to it should be we should look upon in the some other perspective. We should look to the or we should not differentiate between the boys and girls. We should equally treat them, irrespective of any society, irrespective of any condition. We should treat them all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is a question from Priyanka Dev, sir. Sir, it is also a reason that poor rural areas people send their children to school for midday meal. They themselves don't take the education opportunities seriously. Can you cite any suggestions for that?
Pardon, please. I could not able to read. One second, you please repeat your question.
Okay. It is also a reason that poor rural areas people send their children to school for midday meal. They own self don't take their education opportunities seriously. Can you cite any suggestions for that?
Your voice is garbling. Still, I came to know that the girls who are going to the school for midday meal, they are not able to focus on their education. Is it? Is it? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is it? Yes, sir.
Actually, this midday meal program, what the government of India has implemented, that it is for the benefit of the not only for the girls and boys. It is the every section. Those who are just going to school, apart from the those who are marginal section, but for everyone. But those who are that affluent society, affluent family, they can afford. They may not take, but they are not taking also. Their attitude is cynical attitude. But those who are in the marginal section, OST, OBC, or they are economically deprived, they are even rural area. I have seen in the school also. They are depend upon the one meal one meal in the day. They are coming to school for the meal. It is correct, but it is not correct that they are neglecting their studies. They are studying also, and they are defending this one also. It should not, governments of India, it should not that lift on this midday meal program. It should continue this midday meal program so that one section of the society they can depend on, and apart from that, they will continue their study also. Anything else?
Yes, sir. There is another question. Girls are judged of being selfish and stubborn when they fight for their self-respect. May I know your suggestions and some practical strategies about how to make people understand these differences?
Actually, Sangyukta, your voice is garbling to me. I don't know how it is. Repeat it.
I repeat, sir. Girls are judged of being selfish when they fight for their self-respect. May I know your suggestions and some practical strategies about how to make people understand these differences?
That you mean to say the girls are boys are disrespect their self-respect, is it? Sangyukta?
Yes, sir.
No, actually, your voice is garbling. If somebody is hello.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you so very much, sir. Thank you so very much. Am I audible to all? Am I audible to all?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, our next speaker is Dr. T.J.M.S. Raju. Sir, are you here? Sir, are you here? Thank you, sir.
Yes, madam. I am hearing, madam.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Dr. T.J.M.S. Raju from Department of Education, Sikkim University, Sikkim. Sir, please, you can get started your lecture.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I am T.J.M.S. Raju from Sikkim University. Right now, our university is located on 5,000 feet high because we are not having proper signal facility. Because of that, I am unable to present this PowerPoint presentation also. But anyhow, I'll explain orally related to my topic. So for this present day, I have taken gender diversity. Then, madam, you are visible, and I thank Sangyukta Ghosh for giving me an opportunity to present this topic. My topic is gender diversity in education. In gender diversity, just like the universities established in the Northeast, particularly our university, Sikkim University, we are working with different diversity because I belong to South Indian. I am from Visakhapatnam. Likewise, some people are from Northeast, some people are from North India, and some people are from West India. Like that, it is a mixed diversity. It is a mixed culture of faculty working in this university. So it is a diversity based on the culture. But here I have chosen the topic is gender diversity because everyone will speak about the gender, whether it is male or female. So female group is a weaker section in the society. So lot of gender sensitization, inequalities on women, and what are the atrocities are doing on women. So everything we can see related to the inequalities in the society that is against the woman, particularly in education sector also. But some other genders, we are neglected. Is it audible, madam? Is Is it audible? Because here the signal is very weak because this is a hill station. It is above the height of 5,000 feet. Right now, the Sikkim University is located in Gangtok city. It is a hill station. So the signaling conditioning it is very poor. Maybe you are. Is it clear or not? I don't know. But anyhow, kindly bear.
Sir, we are unable to hear you, sir. Sir, can you hear me? Sir. Sir, we are unable to hear you.
Sir, excuse me, we are unable to hear you.
Interruption. It is because of this signal problem. And after that, this queer group, they can't differentiate that they are male or female. So another group, it is also there. So it is a vulnerable group in the society. So we have to consider all human beings, whether it is a transgender or male or female, equally. That is the motto of this implementation of this gender diversity in education. While we are going for the research, our scholars, they will consider the first group, that is whether it is a teacher or a student. We ask them an option of independent variable, whether he is a boy or girl, or whether he is a male teacher or a female teacher. Like that, only two groups we are mentioning for the research, because to find out whether any significant difference is there between boy or girl, or any significant difference is there between a male teacher and a female teacher. Likewise, we are framing in that every research, we are framing this gender. And coming to the aspect of appointments, very recently, the Central University of Hyderabad, that is in Telangana state right now, it is the capital. So in that university, they have given one advertisement belong to an appointment in this recent notification. In that one, in gender, they have mentioned male, female, and also transgender. So because they are giving more importance for transgender also, not more importance, it is equal importance. Just like a male and just like a female, they have given equal importance for gender also. So it is the motto of education to provide equal importance for all genders, all genders. That is the main motto to implement in this one. But particularly for this transgender, lot of direct discrimination. It is because this cross dressing, it is also there, and also cross gender, it is also there. Because of that, some disparity, direct disparity, every human being is showing. So the word we kept for them is it is not an approvable word, but we are treating them very insultingly, whether it is direct discrimination or indirect discrimination. Even though if we won't scold them directly, our the looks and also our smiles, they will be treat them irritated. Because of that discrimination, indirectly we are showing on the other gender. But education is not supporting this type of discrimination. So we have to show the equality among all the gender, whether it is a male or female or transgender. We have to show equal importance on this one. So because of this thing, certain rules and regulations that the government has also framed for protection of this one. This is anti-discrimination. Anti-discrimination. We should not discriminate any gender, whether it is girl or transgender. Being an educated person in higher education, particularly the teacher has to show equal importance without discrimination on all genders. Then next point is support all genders, because every human being is essential for the development of the society and for the development of the nation. Particularly in India, we are having more than 100 crores people. So everyone should work for the development and progress of the nation. Because of that, we support all genders, all human beings, because everyone is created by God, and before God there is no differentiation. All are human beings. So support all human beings for developing their education career. And the third one is support this particularly transgender, because they are treating insult in the society. And also that group is a vulnerable group. So everyone has to support particularly the transgender in case of this employment or in case of this education. So being an educated person, we have to support this transgender particularly. In our educational system also, we came across some boys, some boys, maybe 1 or 2 boys in every year, they're having the feminine natures because their walking style is little bit different compared with the boy, and they are also compared with they are too close with girls. Like that, some variations we can also observe among the students, our student community. So we have to include that inclusive education. It should be considered for all this type of gender. Then we being a higher education person, we have to support gender identity. Identity crisis is one of the major drawback for particularly for the female children. Because of their identity crisis, we have to recognize them and we have to award. And likewise, for every gender, we have some rewards also necessary for bringing them their future in a bright manner. Then some of the spaces in the society, it should be eliminated in the society. That is, some gaps, it should be eliminated. So we have to provide some facilities for them, and particularly for using these bathrooms, particularly for girls, and for waiting rooms for girls, and for this classrooms, we have to provide some facilities, all facilities equally for the for all the gender equally. Then if any problem arise, so we will consider that the problem related to the girl or problem related to the boy. But we have to consider every problem equally, and we have, being a teacher, we have to solve their problems, because that consideration, it is also necessary for solving that problem. Some counseling procedures also essential for the teacher for the development of this gender progress. Then the classroom instruction, it is one of the major thing to encourage all genders equally. We are considering our syllabus, it is concentrating on the diversity, because we are giving importance for all genders. That is some masculine characters in the subject curriculum, some feminine characters in the subject, and likewise some religious aspects also we are having in the curriculum. So all these characters, it should be provide equally, and the teacher has to instruct the students in an equal manner. So no importance for any masculine gender, no importance for any feminine gender, but equality, it should be maintained. Gender equality should be maintained in the curriculum as well as in the teaching aspect also. And encourage the inclusive education. Inclusive means only we are concentrating on this visually impaired or a locomotor disability, or else hearing impaired, only some physically challenged persons, we are concentrating based on that inclusive education. But inclusive education means it is irrespective of gender, irrespective of their deformity. So every student should be incorporated in education, and every teacher has to encourage the students, who, whether they belong to any gender or whether they belong to any deformity.
Sir, your microphone is muted, sir. Sir?
Sir, please unmute, sir.
Sir, your microphone is muted, sir. Please unmute, sir.
Sir, can you hear me? Sir?
All the things should be taken.
Sir, we can't hear you.
Hello, Sanjukta Di?
Yes.
Sir's microphone muted.
Hello, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Please unmute your microphone. Excuse me, sir. We can't hear you. Please unmute your microphone. Excuse me, sir. Can you hear me?
I think there is such a network problem.
Sanjukta Di, I think sir is left.
Okay. Then we can sum up. Yes, he is late. Extremely sorry to all the participants.
Join, sir. Ma'am, join, sir.
Problem.
Sanjukta Di, sir is join again.
But we can't hear him, no?
Sanjukta Di, sir is with us, but sir's microphone is still muted.
Sir, please unmute your microphone, sir. Sir, can you hear?
Yes, I am hearing. I unmute that one. Okay.
Okay.
And equity and equality should be maintained in the classroom situation also. So equality should be maintained in the school and provide the necessary arrangements for irrespective of gender, particularly based on the gender, provide necessary arrangements in the school and also school complex. And teachers should protect whether irrespective of gender, he has to encourage all students equally and treat equally. And particularly while in the school session, that is while they are in the teenage, some phobias will also arise. That is transphobia or homophobia, like that. Some phobias, irrational fears, it will automatically develop for the students. While their sexuality, it is increasing, particularly in their teenagers. But in that time, during that time, counseling is very essential for the teacher to support the teacher, to encourage the teacher, and to develop the student or to develop the child for the welfare of the society and also for the welfare of the nation. So these are all the points that being a teacher should be encouraged the students, and not only the teacher, but the teacher has to conduct the parent-teacher associations. The feedback should be taken from the parents and also from other teachers to cooperate and to mold the behavior of the students. So in this way, if we inculcate all these points in the school, we can promote the gender diversity in the field of education. So I am concluding this one because the signal problem, it is now and then it is disrupting. So I am concluding. So any suggestions or any comments, kindly share. I will also exchange some information.
Yes, sir. There is a question. Sir, would you say that transgender is natural and God created human to be transgender?
Yes, madam. This transgender, generally, some hormonal imbalances are there, because generally based on the hormones that, and also based on the chromosomes, that is the biological aspiration. XX will belong to the female gender, XY is the male gender. So initially only that chromosomes are same, but while they are developing, that hormonal imbalances, because estrogen and testosterone, these hormones, it will influence on the sexuality of the human being. So in that the production, it should be equally, or if the production is balanced, then they will be segregated into a male or female. Otherwise, if the secretions are low or sections are imbalanced, then there is a possibility of converting to a transgender. It is, we can't say that it is the God's creation, but it is the hormonal imbalance, or it is a biological defect. Because of that, the transgenders, it will form. But anyhow, their mentality, their mind, everything, it will be same, just like a other gender, the normal gender. So the teacher also consider the mentality, because we are teachers are appointed to shape the behavior of the students. So we will concentrate on the modification of the behavior, but not on their sexuality. So that is my answer for your question, madam.
Sir, sir, it is Dr. Dipankar Bishwas. Sir, my question is, as a school, as a society, hello, sir.
Okay, sir.
School as a society.
Tell me, sir.
Okay, sir. School as a society.
Question in written form, Dr. Dipankar.
Ready to, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Please asking your question.
School as a society.
Is our schools are ready to accept transgender students as a normal student now?
Yes, sir, because right now, inclusive education, it is a policy. It was already implemented by the government. It is a policy. So inclusive education, not only the physically deformed, because we suppose the biological defect, we are considering them as an inclusive child. But it is a genetic, or else it is a hormonal imbalance. We will consider it as a deformity, the physical deformity of a person. So being a teacher and being an administrator of the school, we have to consider them as a human being, and we have to provide admission also. Because of that only, that the Central University of Hyderabad, one notification, in that notification, in the column gender, they mentioned 3, that is male, female, and transgender. While this higher education is provide opportunity for the transgender, why should the schools restrict the students of transgender? So it is our open heart, open mind to consider them as the human being. We have to provide this admission. That is my advice. Okay. Is it clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much, sir, for a nice presentation.
Okay, madam. Okay, thank you, madam.
Now I request our Secretary of Teachers Council, New Alipur College, Professor Gorasab Nag, sir. Sir, please give your vote of thanks. Sir.
Thank you, Samjukta.
Thank you, sir.
On behalf of everyone present in this webinar, I express heartfelt thanks to Professor Keshan Degi, Dr. Sunil Kumar Baske, and Dr. TJ Raju for their highly structured, concise, and enlightening presentations. And on the part of the organizers, we do acknowledge our debt of gratitude to Professor Degi, Dr. Baske, and Dr. Raju for the grand success of this webinar. We are also thankful to our principal, Dr. Joydeep Kodongi, and our vice principal, Professor Divesh Bera, for the encouraging support provided by them. And we thank Professor Kaushik Das of the Department of Education, New Alipur College, for the technical support. At the same time, we are extremely sorry for the number of interruptions in the midst of the webinar. Finally, we sincerely thank all the participants for their enthusiastic presence and hope to receive such favor of response in the days to come. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Good night, sir. Good night, ladies.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you, for cooperating with us and being with us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.